Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture. I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come and address the culture, huh?
Brick by brick, you usually get Big Wall, but tonight is just P.stock. Big Wall got the night off, and we got another great Address the Culture show. Welcome to all the viewers. You know, we're still covering the Hawaiian martial arts and has the flow of the martial arts from Asia through Hawaii into the States. So we have generals, we have some regular faces on that, you know, we're glad to always have back in to spin the block, but we got some new faces. We love the perspectives. We love the angles, you know, and everybody's story. And this is what Address the Culture is for, to get this information to the culture. And before we get into it, I do want to say rest in peace. Last Sunday, we lost DJ K. Slay, you know, the street sweepers. You know, it was crazy. He's 55 years old. He succumbed to COVID, apparently. And it's amazing, you know, because this summer he was on fire with, he had the record. It was like 45 minutes long with 100 MCs on one record. It was this historical stuff. He was doing 50 before that, 25 before that. So K. Slay went out on top, always, you know, leading the hip hop brands and leading the music community. And, you know, that's a big loss for the hip hop community. You know, so I just want to send our condolences to his family, and you know, and we're going to miss him. You know, that's all I can say. That was heavy. It happened so sudden. Okay, so definitely we're going to get into Address the Culture. We're going to jump out. We're going to take a quick break, pay some bills. We're going to come back with our man DARREN TIBON. You know, he's been our tour guide through the whole thing. You know, Legacy 9 is coming up September the 3rd. You know, in Las Vegas, Circus. You definitely want to be on point. You know, definitely want to tap in. Check out the episodes. You know, we have Adam James coming through tonight. You know, we check out his episode. We have Professor James HUNDON, where his episode is coming up. You know, I mean, it's backed up, but you definitely want to tap in and catch the episodes from the beginning, leading up from the FMA through the Hawaiian martial arts, right up to where we are today, you know. And we're going to tap in with some, you know, Hawaiian history and some Filipino history and some Asian history, and tie it all together to make it work. So, you know, for those, you know, that study different martial arts and different techniques and different systems, you know, get into a little bit of the backstory, the background, see where it all originated from, where it come in from. You know, that's always great. You know, I'm that type of guy. I like that history stuff. But in the meantime, we're going to jump out. We're going to hit a quick break. When we come back, oh man, it's going to be on and popping.
Visit AnnasKnickknacks.store. That's AnnasKnickknacks.store. Find all of those things you didn't even know you needed. AnnasKnickknacks.store.
All right. We're back. You know, this is Address the Culture. I'm your man, P.stock. We got Grandmaster Darren Tibon in the house. You know, he's our tour guide. He's been taking us through the whole step process and step with introducing the different styles and the different groups of martial artists and the different backgrounds, lineages that come in. And, you know, it's great. You know, I mean, people love it. They love this stuff. Wu-Tang built an empire on this stuff. So, you know, what's happening there?
How's it, brother? P.stock. Hey, I'm missing Big Tone right now, Big Wall.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Audi 19 for providing this opportunity, you know, to address all the different martial arts that we've been bringing on board this show. We got a very unique guest today coming on, guys that I really respect, appreciate. Some cats that I knew since I was a young teenager and I studied with his students. That's Bigg, Parker. And then we got Bilal Al'AMin. He's a cat that I met when I first started going up to Long Beach, LA area for my first legacies and tournaments when I was running USFMAF for Long Beach and Disney, you know, and hosting the Stockton Legacy tournaments back in Stockton. And we also have Adam James. Hopefully a couple more can tap in. I know they're trying to tap in right now. But we got Professor James HUNDON trying to get in right now. We got Alfred Akides. Yeah, Alfred Akides trying to get in right now too. And I haven't been able to contact Palaka, you know, all week. Hopefully he could tap in, you know. But we got some great martial artists on board right now, so we're gonna have some fun talking about it. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. You know. And the energy is always great, you know, and then leading up to the Legacy 9 event coming up. And it's great how you bring back people, you know, that come through from the different legacies and discuss their lineages and the stories are great, you know, and that's the whole thing. That's the big thing about addressing the culture.
If we don't talk about it, folks are going to forget about it. You know what I mean? And these cats, man, they got deep history going way back. And a lot of the people that they studied under, you know, the great icons. And we all had our teachers, you know, our senseis, our grandmasters, our masters. But to talk about it, you know, this is personal to a lot of us. So, you know, by you brothers creating this platform, I am so grateful to have the opportunity to coordinate these shows and bring on board a lot of people I've known for 30, 40 years. And what more beautiful platform than iHipHop, okay, address the culture for everybody to talk, okay? So, hey, thank you.
Oh, no worries, man.
And I do miss Tone Big Wall Capone. I miss his opening, I really do.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's classic, you know, I mean, you can't replace it, you know. But
you can't replace Big Tone, bro.
Hey, we hold it down. I don't try to, you know, I'm P.stock, you know, I do me, you know, I do my thing. So we good, you know, so, but hey, it's a beautiful thing. Big Wall will be back, you know, some straight R&R, rest and relaxation and some moves, you know.
Hey, but hey, thank you very much for rolling it.
Oh man, we was, you know, last week I had stuff pop up. So, you know, you know, sometimes we gotta adjust the schedule, but we're gonna make it happen, you know, for sure. You know, so who we gonna go with? Who we gonna bring in? We're gonna take a quick break and then we come back. We're gonna have Darren, who's first? Who you want? Who we talking to first?
You could go on with Bilal Al'AMin if you'd like.
Okay. We got him. Let's go. We're going to take this quick break. We'll be right back in a minute with Bilal.
All right, man.
This is Address the Culture.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and I'm here with the homie Big Wall, and you are now tuned in to Address the Culture, where we're addressing everything in the culture. Keep it locked.
Visit AnnasKnickknacks.store. That's AnnasKnickknacks.store. Find all of those things you didn't even know you needed. and us knickknacks got stored.
December of 2016, that's the last time we saw. We did an intervention tape. And the intervention would show more detail about what was going on, how Jocelyn looked. She didn't look like herself. She looked like she had lost around she weighed about 90 pounds. And Jocelyn was roughly average about 120, somewhere like that. Wow. She looked totally different. And it really tore my heart up to see my daughter look that way.
You think you've heard the truth. You think you know it all. But you haven't heard anything until you hear Tim Savage's side of the story. On the next Let's Talk with Bigg and Lizette, we sit down with Timothy Savage, Joycelyn's father, to get his side of the story. Be sure to tune in. Is there anything you want to say to your daughter?
Yeah. One thing I want to say to my daughter.
All right, we are back with Darren Tibon and Bilal Al'AMin. This is Addressing.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on? Man, what's happening?
Sorry, I'm constantly texting, man. I have to apologize to you guys. I'm constantly texting people.
Oh, okay. Hey, you want to give us some camera? Give us some. So we want to see you.
Doing it again?
Yeah, doing it again. We're looking at half of you.
Man, I got this cheap camera, man. I don't know how to adjust this thing. All I can do is move this up and down. Let me move this forward and slide it to the side to see if that happens. Just gotta go the opposite way. There it is.
Just your feet.
I gotta move.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Sit back.
Let's get my whole head. There we go.
All right.
That's the best I can do, brothers.
All right.
Yeah.
You know,
bro.
You got it.
Now y'all clearly see the gap in my teeth.
Hey, that's good. We addressing the culture, brother. So, hey, glad to have you on the platform. Darren told us so much about you. And
oh yeah, let me tell you how I first met Darren. Okay.
Okay.
I was with Kid Jason's organization. So a kid came up to me and says, we got this guy, he's having problems with these other people. So I'm gonna send you to go protect him. I said, okay, cool. I said, well, who is it? He says, Darren. His name is Darren Tibon. He's got one of the best stick fighting organizations in the country. We want to make sure he's safe. I said, okay, cool. So the next day I go to Long Beach, I see Darren walking up the way. Now he's a big brother, right? But his son is just as big as him. And then he's got his ward with him. And I'm looking at him like, this motherfucker need to protect me. Hey, he ain't got no problems. Ain't nobody gonna mess with this brother. We've been friends ever since, man.
That's great.
It's a good time, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You introduced me to a lot of good dudes, some of them are with us. Can you name off some of these guys that you first introduced me to?
Well, Brian Bray was one of them. He was my mentor, actually. And I really miss him because, the funny thing about him was when I was running the dojo on 43rd, he'd treat me like I was a white belt. He'd walk in, clean this up. Move that mat over there. I'm like, wait a minute, whose school is this? But every time he talked, I listened because he was older than me. He came up in the 50s, like around 1955 and up, bro. I'm like, that's like, I was born in 55. I'm 66 now. So every time he opened his mouth, I always listened because he was an elder, Yeah. But I did notice that a lot of people around him did not see him like that. And sometimes I had to check a couple people, like, you know what, that's your elder, dude. You need to shut the hell up. You know? But he taught me a lot about organization. He taught me a lot about how to run a dojo, because I'm pretty much was a street guy. I was just doing it by, doing it by ear pretty much. But he organized me very well.
Yes.
The one thing that and also Grandmaster Hugh McDonald. You remember him?
McDonald, tough. Yeah, he was good. Good dude.
He was his thing with me, he would always get me in a joint lock. And I don't care what the situation was, I always tried to avoid it. But somehow he'd get me in that joint lock as a way of greeting me. Like, hey, how you doing? Hey, come on. Why you gotta keep doing that, bro? Like
he's testing you, huh? Keep testing.
Yeah, Grandmaster Peterson, Big Cat. He's actually one of those guys that learned how to fight with the screamer. He learned his screamer in combat in Philippines.
Yeah,
You know,
he told me. He
occupied
told me
Philippines.
that.
He slipped up in there and fought with them brothers.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
you don't really want to mess with him with a stick.
Yeah,
not even a twig, dude.
But you know, the people that you're mentioning, you know, they had a lot of influence with a lot of the movie actors too, bro, and some professional fighters,
Right.
you know, and kicking back with them, it was an honor to get to kick back and listen to their history, their stories. You know, these guys,
they had a lot of
them, bro.
A lot of them, bro. I mean, you could sit there for 2 or 3 days and you'd be in heaven because you get all these fables and these stories. Brian Bray told me one time, because he used to hang out with Bruce Lee. They said Bruce Lee didn't hang out with too many people, but he did. He liked the Asians and the brothers a lot.
Yes.
He hung out with them a lot. He said they would go to any Chinese restaurant. If one is upstairs, they walk up, you know, one step at a time. No, Bruce take them 2, 3 at a time. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. I said, really? He said, yeah, man. Our nickname for him was that crazy Chinaman.
That crazy Chinaman.
Yeah, so he told me a lot of Bruce Lee stories. He actually hung out real tough with Bruce. I mean, he knew the man very well.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's one of them. But you remember we were talking about the guy was talking about he was fighting a lot of the BKF guys. You know how the BKF guys like to fight, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got a funny story about that.
Yeah.
Under the dojo on 43rd, this guy named Barry Gordy ran a school over here in Inglewood, and that's where Alvin Crowder and them was, right?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
I met Crowder.
We had got an invite from we had got a request from John Claude Van Damme. He wanted to come spar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, we can do that. I mean, I wasn't probably gonna be there, but then as I made time because I'm like, you know what, we can ready to spar with Claude Van Damme. I want to see how good he is. So, hello, we good?
Yeah, we're here. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, Barry Gordy found out. He spread the word, man. Dude, BKF guys I had never met or seen before just showed up. Cut off geese. You know how we used to wear the cut off frayed geese and stuff, the raggedy little geese and stuff. Yeah. I mean, they dressed to fight, right? Yeah. So it was like 15 or 20 of us. So we standing outside in our geese waiting. Limousine pulls up, stops right in front of us. The window goes down eye level. You see a pair of eyes. The window goes up. The limousine leaves. I mean, you think about it, man. You a white dude. You going into the middle. You go to 43rd. They're like in the middle of the hood, and you saw 15 black belts, and they all brothers. They're all rough looking, and they wear these frayed belts. I'm imagining he was like, "Oh hell no, I'm not going up in there."
So his limousine took off, huh?
Oh, his limousine took off. I mean, it was like he stopped. Window went down, you see a pair of eyes, the window go back up.
Said, I can't hang here. I can't hang here.
And I was looking forward to fighting.
Because it's amazing, a lot of the stories, and we hear, you know, the interactions with Bruce Lee, you know, with people, you know, in the hoods and everything else, and just the actors and Van Damme and those guys. Because wasn't Van Damme the one that got beat up by the bodyguard? They said the bodyguard.
Was it him or Wesley Snipes? I think it was Wesley Snipes got beat up by the bodyguard.
Wesley did?
Yeah, because I know that's how he got into martial arts. So somebody handled him real good.
Wow.
He started hiring guys like Steve Muhammad and them to teach him.
Yeah. Wow.
But you know, he's got skills. I fought him. He's got skills.
Yeah. Fought Wesley?
Yeah, he's got skills.
Okay.
You know, I don't think he can take any of you brothers on, but he's got skills.
Yeah.
Cause he jacked me a little bit. I was like, okay, this motherfucker want to fight. Yeah, but he's a good guy. If you get to talk to him, he's a really humble guy. I think they screwed him over in Hollywood, you know, with that Blade thing. They didn't let him have any input on the last movie, and that was actually the worst movie that Blade movie I saw. I mean, the other two were good, but that last one wasn't that great. So
I know one of our partners, Randy Eastman, he wrote he did a lot of the writing and producing for Brooklyn's Finest with Wesley.
Oh, okay.
And you know, he wrote all of everything he wrote made the movie. Nothing got cut out, and he did all.
That's a classic movie too. That's a classic.
Yeah, Brooklyn's Finest is a cult classic now. It runs. You know, Antoine Fuqua. You know, so
yeah, but you know, I think Wesley's somebody that's really interesting to talk to about the martial arts, because he actually met all the legends. I mean, he put them on TV back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Masters of the martial arts. All those cats were the pioneers. They're the ones that started all that.
Right.
You know, so he would be actually a very good person to get on this show.
Yeah. Make it happen, Bilal. Make it
happen, bro. Make it happen.
He don't talk to me like that, bro. He don't talk, but I will. I'll bug him, because that's how I used to get everybody. I just bug the hell out of them until they just like, hey, dude, it's okay. I'll do it. Get the fuck out of my face. That's my style, you know. Like I'll bug you for years. Yeah.
Wesley, that would be good, you know, to address the culture, you know, and everything.
Something I'd like to ask you, bro, is I know you lived in Hawaii for quite a while, right?
13
Back,
years.
What, 13 years?
Yeah.
Can you remember the name of a lot of your teachers on the island? Because I know Adam grew up on the island too, and maybe you guys might have trained under some of the same people.
Yeah.
There's a lanky brother, Japanese, really lanky dude, like really skinny. Looked like he can't really fight, but he can fight the Hawaiian Kempo master. But I forgot his name. Rui, something like that. Let me look it up real quick, because like I said,
Let's bring Adam in and
bring Adam in.
Let's bring Adam in and make it happen.
And then there was Professor Buell. I think Professor Buell, I knew him.
What an honor.
Got Adam James.
Adam, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
With the head of the Kempo karate school in Oahu, his name was Buell, right?
Well, I think you're thinking of Bill Ryusaki.
Bill, that's who I'm talking about. Yeah. Him. His students used to beat the shit out of me, bro.
He's awesome.
I used to do when I got to Hawaii, I was a shodan. And I thought I was a badass, you know, because you know I'm fighting in Texas. Yeah. So I go to the park. I meet a guy named Bijazing. I decided to become my teacher. So he's one of my Tai Chi Qigong teachers, but he's under the Kempo too. So go to the park, and ain't nothing but his students at that park, dude, and they lit me up. I thought I knew something, bro. They made me look like I was a white belt. I'm like on my back looking up at the sky wondering what the fuck just happened.
Absolutely. That's the classic Hawaiian dojo right in the park.
When I got back to LA, my stuff was off the chain. Because here's the thing, and I think you can, Mr. James, I think you can testify to this. We cross-train a lot over there.
Yes.
We'll go to the park and train by ourselves, and somebody will come along and ask you what you know. You be like, you know, well, I know this. Okay, well, let's train together.
Absolutely.
Hawaii, the whole culture there is just accepting. It ain't my style is better than yours. Your style is better than mine. It's let's train together.
Exactly. Yes.
And then you get your ass whooped, you learn something.
Let's train. Yes. Yes.
That's called training, right?
That's right.
That's called training.
It's just totally different than from here, where everybody's like guarding their fiefdom.
Exactly.
Truckers don't care about that. They go out and tell you, train with a Salat guy.
Yes.
See how he fights, so you can defend yourself against him. You know,
for sure.
So my martial arts was off the chain when I got back, dude. I was doing stuff like looking at the tip of swords and making it circle.
That's awesome.
Making a circle.
I got nothing but good to say about the training over there, man. They don't feud. They talk, you know, every now and then they talk shit to each other, and they will fight each other.
Yes.
But they don't, you know, they don't try to hold each other back.
Right.
You know, it's all about how much more you can learn.
Absolutely. And one thing about Hawaii people, man, anybody who goes and does something great, everybody in Hawaii's got their back. Everybody in Hawaii loves them, roots for them. It's amazing.
Because they feel it represents them.
Exactly. Yes.
Where on the mainland, there's always this sense of jealousy. Like, it's this crab in the barrel mentality. Like, okay, you look like me, but I can't let you make it before me.
Yes.
You know? Like, but in Hawaii, it's like, man, the dude may not even know you, but he know if you from, like, say you from Makaha.
Yes.
He from Makaha, but he ain't never talked to you before in his life. If you make it a success, he feel like he's successful.
Yep.
Because he's from Makaha, and you from Makaha.
For sure.
So has a lot of that come from like the old kung fu movies where, you know, they always challenged the schools. There was no, you know, wasn't no get together and train together. It was our school's better than yours. We're going to shut you down. It was always the Japanese shutting down the Chinese schools in those kung fu movies.
And I think what made Hawaii unique is that everybody is so close to each other that, you know, you weren't going to leave. You weren't going to go anywhere. You're going to turn around next day and you're going to see that same guy. And the spirit of aloha is the one thing that's prevalent everywhere. Everybody, you know, we train hard. We want to bust your ass, but we want to hang out afterwards and have some poo-poos and some beers, you know? So it's like, hey, we're all in this together. And that's the vibe that you get when you're training.
Yeah, that's true.
That's big.
As a matter of fact, that's the culture.
Yep.
You know, that's the whole. I remember I got so sick there one time that this guy went and got this big heavyset Hawaiian lady. I mean, she was huge. Came in the house and looked at me, and I was drenched in sweat. I had fever. She took she stripped me naked, bro. Ran a cold shower, put me in that cold shower.
Yes.
And then fixed me some food, made me go to sleep. I woke up the next day, my fever was broke, everything. And she was like, no, boy, take your clothes off. No, you take it. What do you mean? No, be shy, I'm full. Like,
that's right. Ain't nothing I ever seen before. That's right. She'd say that.
Yeah, her name was Aunt Ma. She lived in Makaha at the, there was these apartments that was on the beach. I'm telling you, man, it's been so long, my memory is terrible. But there was these apartments that right on the coast, right on the beach. She lived in those I lived in the same apartments as her. And I had never met her before, but the young man saw me sick. He knew exactly who to run to get.
Yes. Well, that's much love right there. I'll tell you, you know,
that's aloha, man. I mean, it's like ingrained in them. And here's the thing else I like about Hawaii. If they don't like you, they don't like you.
Yep.
So you know where you stand.
Amen.
But if they love you, bro.
Yep. They're gonna let you know one way or the other. Absolutely.
Yeah, one way or the other, and you can be comfortable with that because they're gonna let you know.
Yep.
You know. I love training over there. I love fighting over there. When I started winning, then I started realizing, okay, my skill level's going up. But for about 2 or 3 years, I wasn't winning nothing.
Well, I want to say, you know, that comes back to the Kaji Kempo roots right there. What you were talking about, the cross training, you know, the Kaji Kempo pioneers were the ones that really spurred that by saying, let's get together and train and create this new art that's truly unique and special. And that original Black Belt Society, you know, they deserve a lot of our respect for what they did because that set the tone, you know.
It did.
Yep.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. I actually did when I first year I got there, I went to the Palama settlement as a kind of a personal pilgrimage.
Yes.
You know, just to go and just look at the old place where Matosi and those guys taught.
Yes.
And it was like you could actually feel their spirit, though. Like, you still feel them like when you go there.
Yes.
You know. And then I finally met Imperato. Now. Here's a funny part. I met Anissa Imperatos about 30 years ago in the Army. She was fixing my teeth.
Yes.
And she told me about him. Like, so I started following him over the years. And then I met him at a tournament. And the funny part was they clowned me the whole tournament because I went in and did a kata. And you know, Kaji Kempo and people, they wear black gis, right?
Oh, yeah.
Guess what I was wearing?
He was wearing your white gi.
A regular traditional white gi. And you know, it was the old one too, where your pants went up to your up to your knees. And so I won, right? I won the kata thing. But the whole time they were clowning me. Yeah, this brother, he coming here with a white gi. The traditional brother. Okay, I'm outnumbered. I'm just gonna be humble. Yeah, I got to sit down and talk to him for a long time, and he told me a lot of good stories about the early days. Yeah, he's no joke. He was no joke. I mean, he was a hard-looking dude at his age.
Yep.
And I don't know if anybody that's seen him. I mean, you look at his hands, like, man, I do not want to get hit with those hands. Like, I don't even want to get slapped with those hands, bro. But yeah, that was an honor, though. I mean, that was the one time I met him. There's only one time I met him. That was an honor because I got to sit down with him and his friends and just chop it up like regular guys, even though I should have took that white gi off.
We have it. So, hey, I mean, this is going to go. Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we have Professor HUNDON and SNAKEFIST on. We'll bring everybody in. And let's bust it up. This is getting good.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
We got to do it like that. It's getting good.
Greatness and accomplishment comes with key elements. Dedication, ambition, and sacrifice. The saying, in order to shine, you gotta grind. It's true. Success is not for the weak-hearted. Take on your next challenge. We'll punchers chance bourbon and toast to the lavish life.
Visit AnnasKnickknacks.store. That's AnnasKnickknacks.store. Find all of those things you didn't even know you needed. AnnasKnickknacks.store.
Man, what it do, man? It's the boy Highway Yellow, man. And I just did the London Paris show, man. She's really dope. Hey, I advise you to get on here, man. You see Yellow on here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't see my chain, but I got to let you boy know, man. Swisher High. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, but long story short, how I officially got the name Highway Yellow. So when I got up there, like, they literally treated me with royalty. Like, rolled out the red carpet and everything. Girl that had me come up there, she buzzed out and say, I'm gonna start calling you Highway Yellow because you hit the road all the time. Man, first and foremost, you gotta be yourself. Because you trying to be somebody else on a song, like it's not gonna work. I mean, you got people that's literally watching, waiting to prove you wrong. What it do, man? It's your boy Highway Yellow, man. I just did London Paris show on Adjust the Culture, man. Hey, I advise y'all to get on here, man. It's a good network, man. If you are up and coming artist or anything, any entrepreneur, man, you need to get on here for real, man. That boy Highway Yellow, man. Swisher House, signing off. Hold up.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and I'm here with the homie Big Wall, and you are now tuned in to Address the Culture, where we're addressing everything in the culture. Keep it locked.
All right, we're back, you know, to address the culture. And now, hey, Professor HUNDON, swing your camera open.
How's the brother?
How you doing? Open your camera all the way up. Can you open your camera all the way up again? Turn it sideways. That's all.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, I feel like I graduated again, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, hey, this is welcome to Address the Culture. We have SNAKEFIST, BANQUI on, you know, BILAL AL'AMIN, Adam James, and Professor James HUNDON, and Grandmaster DARREN TIBON. Man, this is a great lineup right here, man. It don't get no better than this. You know,
it don't get no better than this.
You know, Master James, I remember meeting you at you used to go to the gathering in LA, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I remember meeting you and seeing you there at the gathering too. Yeah.
Yes. The internationals. I used to go to the internationals in Long Beach. And one of my best buddies was you remember Wow Man?
Oh, yeah, Wow Man. When I was, let me tell you a funny story about Wild Man. Wild Man, I never met him before. I had heard so much about him, right? And he came to the dojo one day, and I was like, man, that dude look like Show Enough. You just don't have no hair.
Show Enough. Oh, wow.
And you know what? I almost said it, but I was scared to get my ass whooped. I almost said, who's the Shogun of Harlem? Who's the Shogun? So I said, nah, man, I don't know him that well. He might punch me.
Yeah, man, that was my buddy, man. We met at the internationals, man, and watching BKF and Grandmaster Sanders, man, Grandmaster Muhammad now. I got a chance to see him fight. I got a chance to see him do some katas. And that man was so fast, man. I was like, oh my, I couldn't believe it.
You're talking about Steve Muhammad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I got a story about him too. When I first met him, he punched me in my stomach, but he didn't really punch me in my stomach. He came that close and my spine started hurting.
Wow.
I was like, you ain't never got to worry about me pissing you off at all. I'll never forget that. We was all lined up and he started talking about punching. He said, you can hit a punch, you can throw a punch so hard you can hurt somebody without touching. He threw the punch. Oh man, my spine is hurting, dude.
Wow.
That reminds me of a really funny story. If I can, I'll share with you guys. I remember Bob Wall told me when he first came to Los Angeles and he met Al Doversola, who was from Hawaii. He came up to the mainland to teach Okinawan Te. And Bob said he walked into the guy's dojo and he said, I want to challenge you to a fight. He'd been going around all over challenging any master of martial arts to a fight. And he walked into Doversola's school and he said, I want to challenge you. And Doversola said, there's the mat. And he said he walked out on the mat with Doversola. He got ready to, and Doversola put a front kick through him so hard, Bob said he could feel his foot hitting his spine inside of him. Yeah. Bob got up and said, I'm going to take lessons from you.
That's how it goes, huh?
Yep.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
The mentality, it was like the Wild Wild West back then, you know?
Yep.
Like
I believe
everybody wanted to beat everybody up, and then after everybody got beat up, everybody went out drinking.
That's right.
You know I'm gonna get you back for that kick to the head that you did.
Okay, we have SNAKEFIST BANQUI. You're quiet, SNAKEFIST. To tell everybody about your background, your story.
Oh yeah, man. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's it going?
Well, I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis. 1966, I went to Korea for 18 months, and I was on the front line on the DMZ, and our unit was half Korean and half Americans. And so we get up in the morning, we're doing jumping jacks and side straddle hopping, all that bullshit. The Koreans over there, they doing this, they punching. And so I told my buddy, I said, these motherfuckers over here training to fight. What are we doing? And so I went over and asked us, me and a friend of mine, we were slap boxing, right? This little short Korean sergeant come up and say, you have a Tung Su? I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I'd only been there a couple of months. I didn't know what Tung Su was. I said, yeah, out of Tung Su. I thought he wanted to slap box. He had combat boots on, bro. He kicked me on one side of my body, across the top, down the other side. I must have followed him around for 2 months before he take me to train. And so he took me down to meet the master. And so to make a long story short, I ended up getting whoops in 1966. And I ended up getting a red belt. And so I came back to the States, and then I went to Vietnam. And while I was in Vietnam, I was machine gunning the helicopter. We were flying in a train, and that's where the Koreans were stationed. And so I trained with the Koreans again in Vietnam. So when I came home from Vietnam, I started fighting in tournaments, and this was later on. This was like in 70, 74, 75. And I was the green belt state champion. Right? I thought I was real tough. I was in the club one night, in the health club, and I was doing my kicks over this bench, and this guy with these big eyes, about 6'3", walked by and said, "Keep your arms in when you kick." I looked at him, I said, "Well, what the hell is he?" And a couple of times this happened, you know, and I asked him, I said, "Who is this guy, man?" He said, he teaches Chinese Kempo, and he don't charge people, you know. He have to invite you. I said, "What?" And so I went and asked him one time, I said, "I hear you teach martial art." He said, "Well, do you belong to a school?" I said, "No." He said, would you like to, he invited me, he said, "Would you like to come by my school?" I said, "Sure." I went by his school, we exercised and everything. I looked around the room and it was just white and yellow belts. I'm green belt state champion, right? And he asked me if I wanted to spar. I said, "Well, you have any intermediate or senior students?" He said, "I think they can handle themselves." Make a long story short, that's when I started training the Kempo, because I got my butt kicked all over the mat. I had kicks, bro. I had motherfucking helicopter kicks, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Shit, every time I started to throw a kick, boom. And so that's when I started studying Chinese Kempo, but I didn't know at the time that my instructor was trained by Professor Chow and Bill Chun Sr. So I'm third generation Chinese Kempo. My instructor studied under Professor Chow and Bill Chun Sr. of the Chow Chun system. And awesome. So, anybody want any questions, anything? Because I just go on alone, you know.
I got a lot of questions running in my head because you train with Chow, like.
Yeah, well, I'm 77. I'll be 78 next year, you know. And so
78, bro.
Yeah, man, shit. You know, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I'm so, I'm a youngster compared to you, brother.
well, yeah, you guys, you was talking about the BKF. Yeah. Those are some of my best friends, man. You remember Big John Brown? Big John Brown was a Brown. We fought forever. But all the BKF. Oh, you never met him? Well, he was a good brother, man. He died sometime, but he was what you call a Joe Bear, man. And in fact, when I was a brown belt in 1979, we only had 4 guys from Northern California, and we needed one other guy to fight with us. And so Big John Brown fought with us, and we won the brown belt championship. And then he was he fought against some of the BKF guys because Fast Eddie.
Yeah, Fast Eddie. Okay, I heard.
Yeah. Fast Eddie. Well, we eliminated him. We won the brown belt championship. But let me tell you the greatest story of my life, man. This is the greatest story of my life about Chinese Kempo. I got my black belt in 1980, and I had started working my own system. I teach African dance, and it's all about the snake lord Dambala. And so you learn how to move your body like a snake, and you flow, and you learn how to use gene power. Like snakes have three types of locomotion, and one of them, striking power, is that they don't prepare to strike. It's like a lot of people throw a punch, but in our system, we don't throw a punch, we let one go.
Oh.
You see? Yeah, we let one go because we're using our whole body. When a snake strikes, he doesn't draw back, he just strikes because he used lateral locomotion. One muscle passes the energy to the next muscle. So I learned how to do that in the African dance. And so I started messing around. I was watching Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan was doing the snake thing. I said, well, shit, I know how to do that already. And so I started developing my snake fist, and my instructor started helping me. So I got my black belt in 1980. In 1981, I went to the internationals. And I fought in the master division. This is my first time at the internationals, 1980. I fought in the master division. Next thing I know, I was fighting for first and second. And they called me to the line, "Banqui Parker." I got around 4. And they said, "Donnie Williams, Master Donnie Williams." 12,000 people started going, "Donnie, Donnie." my buddy turned and looked at me and says, "Damn, you got a lot of friends."
He was on.
Yeah, so
that all the time though.
Yeah,
it's not loud though.
Yeah, so anyway, I fought Donnie Williams and I beat him 3-0, and I won my first international championship. But I didn't know until the fight was over that Donnie Williams was in Bruce Lee's movie Enter the Dragon.
Oh.
You know, in that scene in Enter the Dragon where Jim Kelly goes to Sanders' school. Yeah, and Sanders calls one of the guys out to lead the class. He got a red, black, and green beanie on, and he's punching. Well, that's Master Donnie Williams. Now, I'm gonna be honest. If I had knew who he was before the fight, shit, I would probably just bow to him and give it up. So, yeah, man. So I can talk a little bit about the hard style training in Chinese Kempo. But when you start training with Professor Chow, Professor William K.S. Chow, they call him the Professor Thunderbolt. Yeah. He's a creator of Chinese Kempo. Ed Parker was a brown belt. At the time, he asked for a black belt. Professor Chow said no. One time I was at a tournament in Ringo, and the Grandmaster Kaji Kimball came up. Me and him was talking. We had met at a bunch of tournaments, right? And so I was sitting out on the baseball field, getting spiritual. And so Seymour came up and sit down with me. You know, we sitting there talking, and he said, "You know who gave Parker's his black belt?" I said, Professor Chow, because I didn't know at the time. He said he hit himself on the chest. He said, "No, me." So people know that Seymour Imperator is the one that gave Ed Parker his black belt because Professor Chow wouldn't have gave it to him. They were having some kind of issues. And so the training, see again?
That's the first time I ever heard that.
Well, let me show you something. This book right here.
The Dressing the Culture.
This book right here is by Bill Chun Jr. All the stories I'm telling are in this book. You see that? You see that?
Yeah.
The Chow Chun method. And I got it. There's on the back. That's Professor Chow, and that's Great Grandmaster. No, that's Great Grandmaster Bill Chun Sr. And so we have to train old school style. My instructor taught for free in an old garage on a mat that he made by hand, an 8x10 mat that he hand stitched. So when you came into the dojo, there was two bags. There was a bag that you had to do your 21 strikes on, and there was an instructor's bag. Well, I hit the instructor's bag one time. That was the last time I touched that. I'm serious. I mean, it was like concrete, bro. One thing that Professor Chow was famous for was his hand conditioning. So if you look at my knuckles, that comes from the Chinese Kempo conditioning, hand conditioning. And so that was one of the basic things. And after you spent 2.5 to 3 years learning the hard style, then you start learning the soft style. And so my instructor allowed me to develop my own style, and so that's how I came up with the SNAKEFIST, man.
That was awesome, showing the knuckles like that. You know, that's a big part of Hawaii training is the body conditioning and the striking with the hands and breaking. You know, and not just breaking with the hammer fist and the elbow, but punching. You know, you punch the bricks with the pad. Bang.
Yep. Bill Chun, Master Bill Chun wrote his book about how they would go to the beach and do training in the sand.
Yep.
Right. With the wet sand, with the dry sand, how it all feels different. How you apply power in different ways. I mean, it's really deep. I love it.
For sure. And the sand is particularly good for the water too. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's so good. You get in the water, you train, you're in the water. It's giving that extra resistance, and then with the hand training on the beach, you're working those finger jabs. That's the one thing that's a little challenging to train is how you're going to condition your fingers when you penetrate. You use that sand and Bill Ryusaki used to love the show. He had really gnarly fingers, and he'd be like, too much sand training.
Sand training.
Because I know the first time I trained in water was in Hawaii. I was like, why are we doing this?
Right.
There's that resistance, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It makes you a little faster with the resistance, and it makes you quicker.
And balance.
Balance. Yeah.
I want to show you this. This is a picture of the hand training of the sand.
There you go.
See, this is a picture of the sand that we train on. We don't have the beach, but we still have the technique. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly.
Brought the beach to the dojo.
And it's really interesting how you bring it up the Chinese connection because in a recent episode we were talking about the history of Kempo.
Yes.
And Kempo really is the name when we hear that is Japanese and Okinawan. But we all love to say our roots actually go back to China. In fact, it goes even further back to India, where Bodhidharma, Daruma, he came over to the Shaolin Temple, and he's the one that taught them all these techniques, all that training method. And then from Hawaii, that's where it blossomed. Sure, the Okinawan and Japanese Kempo was there, but it was the Hawaiian guys with that training, with the Kaji Kempo roots. They're the ones that took it to the mainland and took it all over the world. In fact, Sensei Mike used to love to say, if Kaju Kempo and if Kempo itself was more united, we'd be the biggest martial art in the world.
Oh, I'm telling you, I have to give you Senior Parada credit because Kaju Kempo is one of the largest organizations in the world, man.
Yes.
And I can tell you what Bill Chun Senior says because I got so many friends. I got so many friends that are Kaju Kempo, right? In the basic Chinese Kempo, we have two systems or two theories. The first theory is one blow, one victory.
Yes.
If I hit you one time, it's over, bro.
Yep. Professor
Chow said, if you get in a fight and you have to throw more than 3 punches, you lost the fight.
Yep.
Exactly.
Straight up.
That's my
Same thing late Grandmaster Angel Cabalas would say. You can't get your opponent within 3, you're dead already. Yeah.
There you go.
I used to tell my students, if you can't get the fight over in 5 seconds, you lost.
So why is that? If you don't, like, even if the opponent is not a better fighter than you or something, and if he's lucky that day, somebody get lucky, people have things, and you get beyond, those 3 punches or those first, few seconds, then, what's the remedy for that?
Well, let me say this here. My first year in Kempo, the first 6 months was learning nerves. I mean, you train, you come and sit down, you and another student, you have your arm, you have to find the nerves all over your body. The instructor walk up to you and he grab you and squeeze and you jump. So you have to learn the nerves. And so if you strike a nerve, for instance, this nerve right here.
Right.
I know you probably did this when you were a kid.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what.
The frog punch.
Yeah, you can hit that. You hit that nerve right there. It freezes that arm. That frog come up. You can't use that arm.
Yeah.
and so I think to answer your question, the 3 punches. I mean, surely these got something to have to do with disabling. Because somebody's in shape, they can take a punch. But if you hit a second nerve,
correct. Yeah, that's the whole key right there. It's all about the vital point striking. When you
exactly
vital point striking, the fight is going to be different because within the first few engagement moments, there's going to be eyes struck, there's going to be a throat damage, there's going to be a collarbone broken, there's going to be a groin impacted.
Exactly. Because if you're in a real fight, you're not here trying to knock somebody out because your life is at stake.
Yes.
If you're going to fight, I mean, why get in the fight to see if you can win?
Mm-hmm. And that's what's so amazing about the growth and the expansion of Kempo and Kaji Kempo all over the world is that if you think about all the major martial arts, this is the only one that's pure self-defense oriented. There's no competitions. There's no tournaments. It's all about just training for the street, the self-defense.
Self-defense, yeah. And it's always not going to be the form and the technique pretty as it is in training. You know,
I'm gonna give you an anecdote. I got in a bar fight when I was in the Army. So I hit the guy over the head with a bottle and knocked him out, right? Mm-hmm. The dude asked me, he says, "Man, I thought you took martial arts." I said, "Man, you didn't see me grab that bottle with a cross."
That's a good one,
brother. Listen, I was in the Navy, okay? And that's all we did was fight Marines. That's like in the old movies. It was like one of those things.
Fight a lot.
Yeah, and they let us, you know, I mean, they would let them get away with it. They're blowing off steam. We're supposed to know better. You know, you're supposed to know better. They're just blowing off steam. I've seen guys get kicked in the face, you know, and with boots, combat boots, like you was talking about, that made them look like a completely different person. I'm like, he just kicked you so hard. You look like I'm Bad T Love back over there. Changed his whole look with one kick, you know. And it was, you know, I mean, a lot of it was bar fights, you know. When you get off them ships and you hit them places, you know, first thing you're looking for is a bar and the women. Okay.
Right, and then there's gonna be a fight over the women.
There's gonna be a fight over the women, right? So you look at
local women and you dealing with a local dude.
Yeah,
fight.
Yeah, and a lot of the places I've been, you know, and I've studied. I mean, listen, I'm nowhere on the level as you guys or the guys that came on here. I've studied, like you said, for the streets. I always fought for the streets. I grew up in the urban city and, you know, worked in, you know, Brownsville, New York, and, you know, Southwest Philadelphia and Southeast DC and everything. So you had to go in there. If you ain't packing, you know, and you had to go in there, you know, you had to be able to use your hands or something. And I was always something. You know, I mean, I use my hands just to get to something, you know, to get out of there. But, you know, so with that being said, I'm just saying, I've got kicked in my face in the class. You know, we used to study in the handball court at the YMCA. Everybody's been through that, right?
I've been kicked in the throat.
Yeah, kicked in the throat. So for new people, for people coming in, for our viewers that watch this and said, I'm going to take martial, I'm going to study, I love this, I like it, it's hard. You know, let them know. Give them the thing that, you know, to train hard, but you're going to take some shots because people are thin-skinned these days. Especially with the kids. Those like Adam and everybody that runs schools and dojo and Darren, I don't know how you do, especially with the younger kids, because the parents, you got to fight the parents to train the kids these days. You know? So,
I have more problem with the parents than the kids, bro.
You raised a really good point, man. And I want to bring up a point here that I'm old school. When we fought back in the 70s, at the international, he fought on the concrete floor
with these.
I remember watching Alan Nelson from Casco's hit a dude with an underpunch, and he turned blue on the floor, ruptured his spleen. They had to come in and do surgery on him right there on the floor, man. You know, as they was taking him out, they was opening them up. You know. Yeah, and so what the point is that tournament fighting and all of these gloves and all this equipment is running technique, bro. I mean, that's just that from what going through the years I'm watching. Technique is the one out the window.
Yeah, because what happens a lot of times with these guys, you spend all that time sparring. What you're really doing is creating a neural connection, a muscle memory connection, where your body is not going to go for the eyes and the throat and the groin and the collarbone and behind the guy and go for the back of the head. Instead, you're just trying to throw a good old right and left. And so,
good point. You fight like you practice.
Exactly.
Yeah. As Bruce Lee said that, didn't
he? And then it comes back.
We can't hear you, man.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, well, anyway, Darren, I want to speak on me meeting Angel Caballos, your great grandmaster.
Please.
Well, yeah, I was a brown belt in 1976, and there was a big gang problem in Stockton. I mean, Stockton Caliphas. I mean, it was gangs all over, all the way to Manteca. I mean, little 13, 14-year-old kids. There was a gang. I was a juvenile counselor. There was a gang called Little Unity. They killed one of the girls in their gang and left her in the ditch, man. Yeah. And so this gang activity was going so bad, and so Hank De La Vega came down from Los Angeles, and he came up with an idea to start a county-wide program with martial arts as the foundation. Yeah. And everybody thought he was crazy. He said, "You're going to teach martial arts to these gangsters?" But what his theory was, it was called the Youth Involvement Project, and he got federal funding. We set up sites all over San Joaquin County and all the cities in San Joaquin County. And they were all under the auspices of the Youth Involvement Project. We all they trained together individually, and Angel was one of the instructors. That's when I first met Angel Caballos in 1976. Yeah. In fact, he taught me rock and block. I mean, at the time I was creating my SNAKEFIST. I was doing a lot of Chisao, and Angel helped me out. I mean, I got to tell you, the best hands in martial arts, I'm biased. Kempo Salas and the Screamer Salas got the best hands, man. I mean, Wing Chun is good too, but for what I know, I used to be a kickout, became a hand man once I learned Kempo. But Angel Caballos, Darren, you remember Perry Kraber?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay.
I explained that era. I know who he is.
And Jim, what was Jim's name? Jim Tukoskas? Damn, I can't remember his name. Jim Tukosa. Yeah.
They were sidekicks right there.
Yeah. Those were some Angels favorite students. I practiced with those guys.
Yeah, Perry's living in Sacramento.
Oh, Perry Kraber.
Yeah, Perry Kraber. He's in Sacramento.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you told me he became a minister or something? That wasn't Perry, was it?
No, I don't believe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was late Grandmaster Leo Fong. That was the minister.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Leo Fong. I always post a bunch of pictures of my food on Facebook, and he tried to get me. Leo for years tried to get me to write down all my recipes. He was gonna edit the book and create a book for me, recipes. I could never get into it. Oh man,
great man, great man.
Now,
I believe his funeral was yesterday. Yeah, his funeral was yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday?
Yeah. It was yesterday.
Leo Fong? His funeral
Leo Fong, yeah.
How long he died? What? Like he died a month ago?
Yes.
How long ago did he die? Coronavirus. Matter of fact, Adam James, Legacy 2, Leo. And Adam James, they presented at Legacy 2 Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
And the unique thing about late Grandmaster Leo Fong is he showed how late Grandmaster Angel Caballos' footwork, how he took it and applied it to his Wei Kune Do. And it was beautiful watching him and Adam work. I really enjoyed that very much. And before he passed away, I've had the opportunity to talk with them and set up interviews with them with Claudio Morelli in Legacy World Interviews. But Jim Leo, he was a great man.
Yeah, man, he had a lot of knowledge, man. I mean, just
a lot of knowledge.
For sure.
Why?
He had an opportunity to work with so many great martial artists, and he was very close with Bill Chun. and Bill Chun Sr. And he met, you know, obviously he knew Angel very well. And one thing that he used to say to me about Angel Caballas was, he said the two greatest martial artists he ever knew were Bruce Lee and Angel Caballas. He said Angel was every bit as good as Bruce. He said Angel was spectacular. And what made Angel really unique and special, Leo would tell me, was his organization. He said the way he organized and structured the curriculum, it made it easy to teach. It made it easy to learn. It made it easy to put it inside here. So you're not thinking when you do it. It just comes out, right? Like earlier you said, you just let it out. You just let it go.
Well, you know, Angel lived in the Filipino Center downtown Stockton. Part of his legend is that some guys tried to rob him one night. Saw this old man walking down the street on his cane, and they could rob Angel. You know the rest of the story. We put that cane on him.
I'll share a story with you that very close brother and GM of Serrata Eskrima is Brother Sultanuddin. You know, what a lot of people got to understand, when Brother Sultanuddin went to the Philippines in 92 and 93, I believe, in front of the Society of Grand Masters, guys like Tatang Ilustrísimo, Shuk Galarga, Grandmaster Mina, and many more, the minute Sultanuddin demonstrated the art, the first thing they said was, Bizan. So that's a beautiful thing.
What? Say that again. What did you say?
Brother Sultanuddin went back to the Philippines and demonstrated in front of the Society of Grand Masters. And when he did, they said, Bizan. They recognized the movement from Angel's teacher. People got to understand, when late Grandmaster Angel left in 1939, he was 23 years old when he hit the United States. He was very young, but he was also known for challenging famous Escrimador in the Philippines too, but he was known by that, by the Society of Grand Masters, okay?
Wow.
But anyway, that's how beautiful Serrata Eskrima is and how authentic it is, going back to Felicissimo Bizan. But the only one that ever got to bring the art of Serrata Eskrima as taught by the Grandmaster Angel Caballas is Brother Sultanuddin. And he's the one that took it back to the Philippines and demonstrated in front of this society of very well-known GMs today that are passed away. But when they witnessed him demonstrate the art, that's the first thing they said.
You recognize it?
Bizan, yes. So is Serrata Eskrima authentic, going back to the Philippines, as taught to Angel by Felicissimo Bizan? Yes, it is. How many of us Serrata masters had that opportunity? You know, back then I was only 26, 27 years old. Sultanuddin was very young, you know, when he went in the mid-90s. So, you know, it makes me feel good that one of Angel's master students got to demonstrate Kabbalah Serrata in the Philippines, and it was recognized by that Society of Grand Masters as Bizan.
Wow.
Only Grand Master, and he demoed as the student, the master student of the late Grandmaster Angel Caballas, who was known in the Philippines, okay? But they recognized the system of Bizan, okay? So, you know, that's very important history for a lot of people. Serrata Eskrima enthusiasts, practitioners, to understand that, yes, the art was recognized.
I have a question, because it's something I never knew, but always wondered. Because, like I said, when I first met Angel, that was the first that I learned. Well, my grandmother married a Filipino, so I've eaten fish head soup, so I know the culture, right? I went one time and I was in my grandma's house. I opened the pot and the fish looked at me, man.
Seagull, brother. That's called seagull.
What's it called?
Seagull soup.
Oh, okay.
Seagull. Yeah.
But my question is that that was the first time I even knew of Filipino stick fighting. And so what I wonder is later on, it seemed like years later, these Kali masters just looked like they came out of the woodwork. So Darren, can you tell me a little bit about Kali and how that relates to Serrata and Filipino stick fighting?
I look at it in this perspective. My family, the Tibon family, immigrated 1906 era to Hawaii, and my great grandfather and my great grandmother passed away the 100-year ago pandemic. When my great grandpa came here, all my family knew of Filipino martial arts was Eskrima. And talking to the late Grandmaster Angel Caballas, that's all he ever referred to it as Eskrima. So me, I just know Eskrima because I heard it from my elders since I was a little kid, and my GM, Angel Caballas. So how Kali came about, I strongly believe that it was something from various organizations that put together. And I think it had a lot to do with maybe some of the books that had came out, in the 70s. But I strongly feel Eskrima. If that's what my great-grandfather called it,
right?
Like Grandmaster Angel Caballas called it, that's what I call it. Eskrima.
Well, thank you, brother, because I seem like Kali just came out of the woodwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no disrespect, but that just seems like. I mean, I grew up in martial arts, and all of a sudden, everybody's doing Kali, and what the hell? I've never heard of this before.
And I'm part of a lot of groups of historians in the Philippines, and they say the same thing. And I believe, it's going to be a continued dispute on the art Kali. Yes, it has been found in old literature, but from what I learned, from my family, coming here in 1920 to Stockton, California, my great-grandpa called it Eskrima. And I was even blessed by my great-grandfather, Marcos Tibon, as the Escrimador Tibon. And here I am today representing late Grandmaster Angel Caballas, Serrata Eskrima. But sometimes you're meant to be a person. And I strongly believe that the ancestors, they guide us all to where we're at.
They carry it on. Yeah. Because I don't remember hearing Kali recently, until.
Yeah, I have to agree that name did pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like I said, I ain't disrespecting nobody, but shit.
Me neither. I'm not disrespecting no Kali whatsoever. I'm just going off of what my teacher, and my great grandfather, my uncles, my elders told me.
Let me show you one of the differences that I noticed. I only studied Eskrima just a little bit with Angel. He's trying to help me with my hands, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that I noticed in Eskrima is the sharp inside moves.
Yes.
And Kali is a bunch of broad sweeping moves. If you get inside of that, he's a dead man,
He studied under late Grandmaster Angel Caballas. They called it Caballas C-hand. C-hand. And you understand what I'm saying. The trapping, C-hand.
Yeah.
Very similar to Wing Chun. I see a lot of people doing it, but the difference is Angel would catch and lock the trap.
Yeah.
Where you see a lot of people passing and slap blocking. Angel was about to grasp, take total control as soon as your opponent.
And so it's not the basic thing of lock and block? Is that part of that basic right there?
Yes.
Okay.
Lock and block teaches one to counter left and right. Instead of stick on stick, lock and block is spotty adaga. It taught you how to counter left and right. It also taught you how to control your opponent hand on hand, left or right. That's Caballas Serrata C-hand, which is built on locks, blocking, locking, all of it. So, when you look at Caballas Serrata C-hand, it looks very similar to a lot of jiu-jitsu. Okay. A lot of the countering system looks a lot like Wing Chun from what I've analyzed. But, you know, when you get into the jiu-jitsu, Professor James HUNDON is a guy you want to talk to. He's one of the late Grandmaster Wally J's foremost students.
Oh, small circle, huh?
Yep. James HUNDON. Yes.
Yeah.
Small circle jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So, Brother James, you want to talk about?
Come on, James.
Late Grandmaster Wally J? Look at all you cats on this today. It's beautiful.
Okay. Well, again, I met Grandmaster Wally J in the mid 70s, about around 70, 75, 76. Yeah. And as from the last time I was on here, I explained that one of my students that I was training at the time had asked me if I knew anything about small circle jiu-jitsu, and I said no, I didn't. Just like a lot of us doing that early time in the 70s, Bruce made quite an impression on a lot of us. So I was in the garage with a couple of original students from Bruce before it was called Jeet Kune Do, which was June Fun early on. And so we used to do a lot of garage training. But when I met Grandmaster J, my student said, hey, he teaches down at the College of Alameda. So I went down to the College of Alameda to meet him. And we started talking, you know, and he said, okay, he says, yeah, he said, this guy's name was James Littles. And he says, yeah, James has told me a lot about you. He says, yeah, I do small circle jiu-jitsu and da-da-da-da. And I was, you know, I had already been competing, of course, you know, through the years of the 70s. And, you know, he went into his hip twist for a throw. And I did a hip twist based on what I had learned from the early June Fun. He said, yeah, that's just like my throw. And so we went on because I had came to a point where I started to realize everything doesn't call for a kick or a punch. That, you know, you start punching and kicking, but I started looking, well, if I'm in a tuxedo or if I'm in a suit or I'm out or my buddy's drunk or da-da-da, I don't want to just bust him in the mouth with a back fist and a roundhouse kick, you know? So that's the.
Oh, you froze, bro. Oh, he's back.
He locked me. He locked me up, and I was reaching for him and stuff like that. And the only thing I was like, I can't. And so I was, you know, he really had me dancing. And so when he stopped, he says, you know what this proved? I said, what, sir? He says, pain makes believers.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was so effortless. It was so effortless and how he did what he did. I was very fortunate to be around him doing that development of small circle jiu-jitsu before it got popular. And I did the first book with him, which was called Dynamic Small Circle.
Yes.
And that I think that book is out of print now. Some people are they're selling it. You can find it periodically, but yeah, but it's out of print right now. But that's pretty much how I got started. Then we started traveling together, and we used to demonstrate as the father and son team. So I never forget we were in New York doing a demonstration, and what would happen? We would do a demo, and then I would turn around and enter in a tournament because it's usually a combination of two. So we would be like the halftime, middle part show. So I never will forget that we were. They introduced Grandmaster J. Grandmaster J came out, you know, and they said, and here's his son, Jim HUNDON, right? So I come out. So everybody's looking at me because Grandmaster J was Hawaiian Chinese. Yep. So I come out, and I do what I was doing. He throw me around, and we do what we did. So after the demonstration, a couple of ladies came up to Grandmaster J. Says, "That's your son?" And Grandmaster said, "Yes, that's my son." He said, "Well, he looks nothing like you." Grandmaster Jay turned around and said, that's because he looks a lot like his mother.
It's a good thing to say the bottom half was white and the top half was brown.
He was quite a jokester, man. He was quite a jokester. But I was with him for 35 years.
Oh, wow.
Even when I moved to New York for 8 years, when I was there with Doc Powell and Sophie Littlejohn and some of them. When Grandmaster Jay was coming out to the East Coast, he would call me, and we would travel up to see Dillman and some of the other people where they were having tournaments and so forth and so on. And it was just great. And then I moved back, and yeah, that's how it was. But what happened? Grandmaster Jay had spent some time with Bruce. All right, so Bruce had looked at Grandmaster Jay as a father figure. So he would go, he would come to the house periodically. I just missed meeting Bruce maybe about 2 years. And when I walked inside the dojo, which was underneath Grandmaster Jay's house, he has this great big old picture of Bruce Lee there that said to Wally J, da 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 da. And I was in awe. I was like, oh my goodness, he had set foot here. But as things developed and materialized, Grandmaster Jay used to tell me how he was working on the 1 inch, 2 inch punch that they would talk about over dinner and so forth and down in the basement. So, but early on there was no fighting element to small circle, and I think that's the part that really put me on this path of wanting to combine the fighting aspect of it with the locking aspect of it. So I would say, well, nobody is just going to give you their hand or their arm. They're going to be trying to knock the hell out of you in the street. So that's where understanding, some boxing fundamentals. I mean, I got my first black belt in Chinese Kempo, which was under Ed Parker's system. Pardon me?
No, go ahead. You're
yeah. So I just started working on that. And like I said, I was the only one in that time that had competed on the karate circuit, and I just kept developing, and that's how I came up with small circle Ju-Trap boxing, which encompasses small circle jiu-jitsu. It encompasses Grandmaster Tibon, Sarada, Eskrima. It puts a little bit of everything that I've done, even some of the East Coast stuff, working with Dr. Powell. And that was another group out there. They didn't play either. They would jack you up.
Talking about Moses Powell. Yeah, he's a legend.
Yes. But I would give nothing for my journey, because that 8 years that I was there in New York, under Sophie Littlejohn and Doc Powell and Professor Crossan, Robert Crossan, it was just,
these are all legends too.
It was just awesome. Yes, I was. The plus for me was reading about these guys in the '60s in Karate Illustrated and Karate Magazine. And seeing a picture on Black Belt Magazine of Dr. Powell. He was like 300 pounds doing that one finger rollout, and then finally getting to New York and actually seeing him do that, I was like, oh.
He's like 300 pounds too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
He was froze again, man. You put that lock on you.
Blowing him up. He's getting blown up.
Hey, I want to speak on when we bring up jiu-jitsu, I want to clear the air, okay? Because a lot of people, this is Hawaiian folklore. A lot of people think that Professor Chow got his black belt from Koshiru Kempo, Maitosi. That's not a fact. What it was is that they were both practitioners. they exchange techniques.
Ah.
And I can show you this here. In Koshu Kempo is a Japanese, basically a Japanese system, and I'm going to show you the difference in a Chinese Kempo block, in a Japanese block, in a Koshu Kempo block. In Koshu Kempo, if they do an inside block, it's like this. Uh-oh, I knocked my.
That shows you the best works, though.
Busting up your
But anyway, yeah. And you see these Japanese blocks, they go up like this here and up like this here. The inside block goes like that. The outside block goes like that.
Yeah.
Well, Chinese Kempo, how you can tell the difference in Koshu Kempo and Chinese Kempo. Well, here's another, before I go with that, here's another thing. Professor Chow and Maitoshi attended Okazaki's Danzaru Jiu-Jitsu School together as students. Okay? Not as a master and his student, but they were both students equally when they went and studied with Professor Okazaki. Now, Chinese Kempo, an upper block. Here's a theory. Here's a logic behind. If a person throws a double punch and I do this, I got the upper punch, but what's going to happen to the second one, right? You get your hand down the time. In Chinese Kempo, when we do an upper block, the first move is here, where your hand covers your whole body, where you can hit over it and beneath it. And you test it, you go back to your shoulder. And so it looks like this. It comes here, and then there's a snap. So it's one and a snap. And so we also have another saying. A punch is a block and a block is a punch.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we train this area right here.
The block is a strike.
Oh man, you bang that stuff in your arm pretty soon. You can't even feel that, you know.
I gotta say though, in regards to Matosi and Chow, I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure. But I've heard both stories. I've heard, of course, Matosi is a controversial, somewhat mysterious character, if you will. I heard, of course, the Matosi story is that he taught Chow, and I know that Chow advocated the opposite. And in fact, I remember sitting down with Bill Ryusaki, and we found an old interview with Chow before he passed away, where he said not only were they students together, he said, no, I taught Matosi. He was my student. He said because Matosi could speak well and I couldn't, we would go and do these demonstrations and I would do all this stuff and he would stand there and talk.
Exactly.
And I showed that to Bill Ryusaki. You know what Bill said to me?
What?
He looked at it and he went, Hawaiians. Now, earlier we were talking about...
That's cool.
Did you not? Earlier we were talking about the spirit of aloha and everyone's together and all this. But there is an element of the Samoan crab. The other thing with the Samoan crab is you can put them all in a bucket and you don't have to put a lid on. Because as soon as one starts climbing out, the other ones are going to grab them and pull them back down. So we don't know. But I will say that Matosi and Chow and Emperado and Ryusaki and another guy is John Hackelman. He deserves respect too as a Hawaiian Kempo man who brought it to the mainland and made it great. And we're all doing our best to continue to move it forward. And I have tremendous respect for everybody who's done what they've done, and more so for those that are getting ready to do what they're getting ready to do, because the future is ahead of us.
Right on, respect.
Right on.
Yeah, that's definitely some truth there. Yeah.
Hey, so it's great. That's what Address the Culture is all about.
Amen.
We're addressing the culture. We're addressing the culture. That's the place, man. Because you guys are doing it. You guys are, are the guys that anybody that want to learn should listen to, or want to train with, or want to. Start that experience in martial arts. I would feel comfortable with letting my kid get his ass whipped by any of you guys.
Point where we're taking to the point where I'm actually going and revisiting those old things, because I don't see that. I don't see a lot of strong fighters like I used to back then. And I think it's because we trimmed the fat. We trimmed the fat a lot over the years.
Well, yeah, but it's the equipment, brother.
Yeah. It's not only that; it's lawsuits too.
Well, let me tell you something. The last quiet time I went to 2 years ago, because I've been hiding from that virus, okay? Because it's looking for me. And, you know, old folks, it wants old folks, right? Anyway, but I was at a tournament, a big tournament here in the Bay Area. These teenagers were fighting. The kid got hit and fell down to the floor, and they called excessive body contact. And the kid had gloves on. I was mesmerized. I said, no, this is not my martial art. You know? I mean, come on now.
Excessive body contact.
Excessive body contact. With gloves on. You know?
Too much punching.
Too much punching. Not enough talking about it. Talk about it. Can we talk about it?
You remember the early gloves, all right, was what? Tape on your nose, tape on your, and tape around the ball of your feet. That was safety equipment.
That was it. That was it, bro.
I'm gonna tell you, I had a guy hit me so hard in my early days, I started reaching for shit.
Hey, it's beautiful, man. We definitely gotta do this again. You know, address the culture, man. This is what it's for. And, you know, it makes me feel good, man. You guys come out with the stories, and we're addressing the culture, you know, and the viewers are gonna love it. So you definitely want to tap in, subscribe, holler at these guys. And if you're in California anywhere, hey, there's a lot of places to get, a lot of great places to get your ass kicked. Okay? So you can go up there and learn some. You know?
Hey, I want to thank Grandmaster Darren for bringing me aboard, man. Enough respect, brother.
Grandmaster Darren, Aladdin 19, big shout out, Aladdin 19.
Nice to meet you, brothers too.
Hey, we're gonna spin the block. You know, we spin the block too. We'll have in future shows. You'll be back. You'll be right back with us. You know,
right on. Respect.
And I'm gonna hold you up to Wesley now. We can expect to see Wesley on this too, right?
Yeah, right, man. You got really good skills. He's really good.
I believe you. Someone else told me that too.
Yeah, he's really good friends with Bob Wall.
Oh, Wesley is? Yeah.
That dude fired me. We fired each other up that day, bro. Like, I had a lot of respect for him when I walked away. I'm like, this dude can really fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's really good friends with Bob Wall, and Bob would always talk about Wesley, what a quality human being and a quality martial artist he is.
Yeah.
He trained on the East Coast as well.
I ain't got nothing bad to say about the brother.
Yeah, he trains on the East Coast. Yeah. So, hey, man, he the return of Wesley. You know, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. You know, I think the last. I mean, he's still active in doing movies and TV shows.
But you know, he's got a comic book out now.
A comic book. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the graphic novels now. He got one out. He's got one coming. I forgot to. Oh, the name of it is Exile. Because see, I'm a nerd.
Awesome.
I'm a martial artist, and I'm a serious black nerd. I'm a blur.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
The latest comic books, graphic novels, cartoons, animation. That's me. You know?
That's good stuff. Yeah, nerd's a nerd. You know, that's it.
Yeah,
you know, so
I'm a nerd, brother.
Hey, beautiful.
Hey, fellas.
But we're gonna have you back. We're gonna have all you spin the block. You know, we got a lot of stuff going down. You know, we want you to come through. You know, everything's leading up to the Legacy 9 in Las Vegas. You know, the circus. You know, and then that's gonna be a blast.
I'm not that far from Vegas, as you know. I'm in Tucson, so.
Oh, there you go.
You gotta come.
Give me the date, and I definitely save the money and come see you guys.
September 3rd.
September 3rd.
September 3rd. Okay. Yeah.
September 3rd, guys. Circus.
Circus. Yeah. I mean, hey, that will be a huge documentary. You know, bring everybody in with the training, and I know Darren's on it. So, hey, it's going to be a great event. They always are. You know, and that's come through. And we can't wait thank you for allowing Address the Culture and iHipHopTV to be
Thank
a
you,
part of
guys.
this and to come in and make our platform yours. But hip hop and martial arts,
yes,
they're married. You know that?
Oh yeah, man.
They're married. They're married.
I would have to agree.
Yes. Yeah, they're married. They go hand in hand. So hey, the platform is here. Utilize it. Holler. If you got something you want to address the culture about, let's address the culture.
Yeah, let's do this,
There's
brother.
a lot of addressing today.
You guys really, I really needed this because I was getting into kind of a funk. Now me feel like Brother James. I remember him teaching a knife seminar one time.
Yeah,
he confused the shit out of me though.
Thank you, brother.
You got so many circles, dude. I was always my mark.
Thank you. Much respect. Much respect.
I couldn't ask for
All right, Adam.
a great group like this. Banqui, Lumumba, Professor HUNDON,
Respect.
Hey, Bilal, Adam. Thank you. Thank you for coming on this show today.
Much
Brother
love,
P.stock, beautiful
P.stock.
show.
Yeah.
I miss Brother Tone Big Wall Capone. I miss
He'll be
him.
back next
I
week.
wish he was on
He'll catch
here.
us. Yeah, he'll be back, and we'll be going, and we'll pick it up. And after he see this, he's gonna be like, "Hey, I gotta get on this. I gotta see." and these things, these shows, like we record, and then there's an order, so it'll probably be about 2 or 3 weeks before it drops. So there'll be time. You'll probably be, as Adam, as Professor Hunt, you'll be back on probably before your first show drops. but somehow that's the way it goes, so that way.
Hey guys,
once it
huge
drops,
shout
it
out.
drops.
Huge shout out to Aladdin 19.
Aladdin 19. Peace and
He's the one
blessings.
that helped create this platform, for martial arts, and it's a beautiful thing. We have a lot of shows here, but you guys, man, hey, you made my day. What a great show!
And let Alfred know he broke my heart because I really wanted to pick his brain. I really wanted to take his brain. You get a hold of an earth too. You supposed to be his brain.
Legacy 9 coming up. You'll be able to get
Legacy
in
9,
all
guys,
the training,
September
man.
3rd. Oh
September
yeah,
3rd.
All right, my brother.
oh yeah,
Circus,
beautiful
brothers.
show.
All right. Peace and
Thank
love
you,
to
guys.
everybody.
Thank
All
you.
Peace and love.
All right.
Peace and love, man. Every time,
Take care.
Every time.
Yes. All right.
All right, guys.
And we're back. That was a great show. I mean, what can we say? This show right here, Big Wall missed a good one, but he'll be back next week. And these guys are going to spin the block, and that's what we want to bring to the viewers, authentic, attachment to their art and their cultures. That's the biggest thing that we take away from these episodes with these great martial artists. And big shout out to Darren Tibon, the Grandmaster and Grandmaster Aladdin 19. Big shout out, and that's what Address the Culture is. That's what we do. Great show, great energy, funny, man. You're going to enjoy this, forever. Watch it. When you subscribe to the site, subscribe to Address the Culture, subscribe to iHipHopTV, share it, like it. These things that's getting better and better. It's going to get better and better. That's what we do. This is Address the Culture. I'm your man, P.stock. Like Big Wall says, your culture makes you who you are, and so make sure they respect it. And that's real talk all the time. Peace, y'all.
Visit AnnasKnickknacks.store. That's AnnasKnickknacks.store. Find all of those things you didn't even know you needed. and us knickknacks got stored.
Do you have a specialty like that you prefer, or is it just like you said, a feeling, just across the board when we talk about the youth?
It's a feeling. It's life and a feeling, just everything. Everything all in one.
Yeah, man. Frank Stickles is my artistry name. Definitely, I've been doing music for a long time. Putting work in the game. I work with my cousin. That's my business partner. My cousin 2K Camp. We've been doing music we would just make hits. You know, we would just make things that would just bang. You know, and that just win it. I'm doing a lot right now. Right now, I'm in Tony. I'm singing. I'm with Dwayne Wiggins. I'm about to leave with him in 4 days. We got DC. So we about to do DC this weekend coming up. Doing a lot. I have a lot going on, you know. My father's movie I'm working on. Filmo Slim's movie, you know, it's a lot going on. The Vivica Fox move was awesome. Thanks to my boy Al Shabazz. He's the one that shot the movie for Vivica and paid him out his pocket. Paid her out of his pocket. I was always making music on the side though, you know. You know, with Bobby Brown. Shout out to Bobby. I just talked to him yesterday. So it's like, it's a lot we got going on. A lot, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
We glad y'all can take time out to come through and let the people know, you know, especially since we talk about y'all so much and push y'all, so for y'all to come through and now people get to see you and get the vibe and the flavor.
Yeah, this is me, man.
And direct
the party's on and off, you know.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Lady Luck, and I'm here with the homie Big Wall, and you are now tuned in to Address the Culture, where we're addressing everything in the culture. Keep it locked.
What do you think is some of the biggest misconceptions when we talk about just modeling, taking pictures, and pursuing? Because there's a lot of them out there.
That were easy. So I feel like it's just how you speak to people. And if you don't talk down to people, if you talk to them like, you know, maybe try it this way, or how about this? Or the last time I did this, and people don't take it, interpret it as like she's belittling me. Because obviously I do give something to the culture, and to don't take no for an answer, and just keep going. And I know in this industry things come across like harsh, and like, but take that as a moment to learn from it and just keep going. Because somebody may tell you no, but somebody may charge you less, tell you yes, and they're gonna double back. And when they double back, you charge them double. That's all you could be. So I'm trying to make sure I break that barrier of I could do both. I could be both.
How many times a day do you think about sex?
I'm thinking about it right now.
Talk your shit.
All right, it's your girl Ronnie Cake, and I just did my interview with Big Wall on Address the Culture. If you haven't tapped in yet, do that. Big energy, great energy.